Ukrainian strike on Russia's Il-38N aircraft cleared way for submarine attack in Novorossiysk. That's the headline that broke on December 24, 2025. And it describes what might just be the most sophisticated military operation we've seen all year. So, subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex. Join me with Arya in the latest deep dive by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we are dissecting this operation, a really sophisticated two-step maneuver that first blinded Russia's Black Sea fleet, and then delivered this crippling historic blow to one of their most valuable assets in its supposedly safest harbor. Okay, let's unpack this.
This is a truly defining moment in how naval conflict is evolving. And for you, the learner, it's just a perfect case study in asymmetric warfare. The mission here wasn't just about, blowing something up. It was a really profound demonstration of planning by Ukraine's SBU and their naval forces.
And that context is so crucial, isn't it? Because after taking these massive recurring losses at Sevastopol, their main naval base,
A historic hub, yeah.
Moscow moved its most critical assets, especially these Project 636.3 Kilo-class submarines, to the Novorossiysk naval base. It was meant to be impenetrable.
A fortress, tucked away behind layered defenses, boom barriers, you name it. Novorossiysk was designed as a sanctuary, sort of the fleet in a bottle.
And Ukraine just shattered that bottle.
They did. And what's so fascinating here is the sheer necessity of doing it in two phases. They couldn't just, send an underwater drone into the harbor. The Russians rely on constant aerial surveillance. It's core to their doctrine. So they had to take out that eye in the sky first.
Okay, so let's focus on that first phase, lining the fleet. The target was the Il-38N maritime patrol aircraft. NATO calls it the May.
The May, or the Russians call it the Sea Dragon. And we're not talking about a cheap asset. Its cost is estimated around, $24 million?
But its real value in that specific theater was basically irreplaceable.
Completely irreplaceable. And it was because of its unique technical abilities. The SBU identified this one aircraft, based at the Yesk Air Base, as the only one of its kind in the entire Black Sea region that could actually detect their newest UUV.
The subsea baby.
That's the one. For months, this plane had been actively countering Ukrainian naval drones. It was the fleet's deep-sea sentinel.
And this wasn't just a basic recon plane. This was the modernized Il-38N. It had the Naval P-38 search and sighting complex.
That Novella system is the key. It integrates all the standard stuff like high-res radar.
Which can spot a ship from, 300 kilometers away?
Up to 320, yeah. But the crucial component, the thing that really mattered here, was a magnetometer, or a MIAD.
Right, the magnetic anomaly detector.
Think of it like a giant flying metal detector. Picks up these tiny changes in the Earth's magnetic field caused by, a big submerged chunk of steel, like a submarine, or a stealthy UUV.
So the Il-38N was the literal optic nerve Russia was depending on to protect that harbor.
Precisely. To protect it from the exact weapon Ukraine was about to use.
So if it was that critical, how did they take it out? We know it was an aerial drone, but I read the weapon choice was an airburst warhead. That seems incredibly precise.
It was ingenious. A classic case of aiming for the brain, not the body. The goal wasn't to shatter the plane, but to perform a sort of high-tech lobotomy on it.
How does that work exactly?
The munition was designed to detonate above the aircraft. It scatters about 2,000 downward-directed fragments. A surgical strike aimed right at the plane's electronic core.
And the reports confirm the explosion happened right over the compartment with all the main equipment, the radar domes.
Exactly. So you have 2,000 tiny projectiles raining down on the most sensitive systems. They shredded the radar, the Novella complex, and they even took out one of the engines.
So with that plane neutralized, the clock starts ticking.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Phase 1 created this tiny, precious window of blindness that Phase 2 just instantly exploited.
Which brings us to the main event. Phase 2, the historic underwater blow. With the Sea Dragon grounded, the path was clear for what people are calling the world's first successful combat strike by an uncrewed underwater vehicle against an operational submarine.
And this target, it wasn't chosen at random. The aim was the B-271 Kolpino, one of the 6 improved Kilo-class subs in the Black Sea Fleet.
These are the ones NATO calls the black hole, right? Because they're so quiet.
Extremely quiet. They're prized assets. And the Kolpino was the newest of its batch, a key launch platform for Kalibr cruise missiles against Ukraine. Taking it out was a huge strategic win.
This whole strike really highlights the technological jump Ukraine made with this weapon, the subsea Beta UUV.
Yeah.
We're used to hearing about the surface drones, the USVs, but this is a different animal.
Oh, it's a fundamental game changer. The old surface drones were great, but Novorossiysk had physical barriers. Floating pontoons, nets, sunken barges. A USV would just run into them.
But the subsea baby goes under all that.
It operates fully submerged. It just navigates right under the static, visible defenses and gets into the innermost part of the harbor.
And navigating that kind of confined space, that's not an open ocean shot. That requires incredible precision. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Go on.
Some sources are suggesting the drone may have integrated data from hacked harbor surveillance cameras
Wow.
to help it navigate the port and find its target.
I mean, that's another level. That integration of cyber warfare with a kinetic strike really shows how sophisticated their approach is. It means the planning team knew the Kolpino's exact mooring spot and used real-time digital help to thread the needle.
Of course, the initial Russian statements were just flat denials. No damage.
As always. But the forensic evidence, I mean, it tells a very, very different story.
Satellite imagery is undeniable.
Absolutely. The shots from Maxar and Vantor the day after the strike, they showed two major physical clues.
The first one being that massive crater right on the pier.
Right. The explosion was powerful enough to gouge a 9-meter diameter crater into the heavily reinforced concrete pier itself.
9 meters.
That kind of damage. It confirms a direct, very close-range detonation right underneath the submarine's hull.
And then when you look at the sub itself, the Kolpino, in those pictures, the evidence of internal damage is just striking, and it's sitting so much lower in the water.
That change in draft, that is the key forensic finding. The Kolpino was sitting more than a meter deeper than its normal waterline. You compare it to its sister ship right nearby.
And it's night and day.
It's unambiguous. It means severe flooding of internal compartments. Analysts think the impact was about 12 to 14 meters forward of the stern.
That seems like a particularly bad spot to get hit.
It's devastating. It means the blast likely ruined the steering mechanisms, the propeller shaft systems, the hydroelectric motors, and all the sensitive electronics in that aft section.
So this isn't just a hole in the outer shell.
No. That kind of buoyancy loss means the blast wave compromised the critical internal pressure hull. That's the part that keeps the crew alive, the part that keeps the boat operational.
And once that pressure hull is breached, what's the prognosis? Can they even fix it?
The NATO analysts consulted for these reports are, well, they're extremely pessimistic. They're saying that once the pressure hull is breached and all those electronics get flooded with seawater, it is almost impossible to repair.
So it might just be easier to scrap it.
That's the assessment. It's functionally a permanent loss for the Russian Navy.
So what does this all mean then for the bigger picture? The Kolpino is gone. That has to have a massive impact on Russia's Kalibr strike capability.
The strategic implications are enormous. Before the invasion, Russia had 6 of these modern Kilo-class subs in the Black Sea.
6. And with this strike?
They have now officially lost half of them. 3 boats are gone. So you're now down to maybe only 2 operational Kalibr-capable submarines left in the entire theater.
That dramatically reduces their ability to launch these stealthy, long-range strikes.
It really does. It forces them to rely more on their surface fleet, which, as we know, is far more vulnerable.
And this loss pushes Russia right into what analysts are calling the logistic trap.
It's a perfect storm of geography and international law. There are sort of 3 parts to this trap. First, you've got the Montreux Convention.
Right, Turkey controls the straits.
Exactly. It blocks belligerent warships from entering the Black Sea. So Russia can't just bring in a replacement Kilo from its Baltic or Pacific fleets. The fleet is trapped. It's finite.
And second, even if they wanted to repair the Kolpino, they can't send it to their best shipyards.
Correct. The really sophisticated repair facilities are outside the Black Sea, in Kronstadt on the Baltic. The Kolpino is stuck. It can't leave for those complex repairs.
Which leaves them with only one option, the ship repair plant in Sevastopol, a place that is under constant threat.
And that's the third crisis, the precedent. We saw what happened to the Rostov-na-Donu. It got hit, they spent 9 months fixing it in Sevastopol, and then it got hit again and sunk.
So putting the damaged Kolpino there is like putting a giant target in a known shooting gallery.
They're forced to take a massive risk because they have no other options.
Yeah.
It's a complete logistical nightmare for them.
And beyond just the physical loss of the submarine, a successful strike on Novorossiysk, the place that was supposed to be the safe harbor, That has to undermine confidence.
Profoundly. The sources confirm this. We saw other Russian vessels fleeing the base right after the strike, dispersing to other anchorages. And they're sinking barges now to try and create more barriers.
Which just makes their own harbor harder to use.
It turns their safe harbor into a congested bottleneck. It limits their maneuverability, their response time. It's a crisis of confidence.
The synchronization here, taking out the aerial eye to enable the underwater checkmate. It's just a remarkable display of ingenuity.
It really is. And this operation, it confirms a pivotal shift in naval warfare. The move from vulnerable surface drones to fully submersible UUVs. It's invalidating the old ideas of conventional, multi-billion-dollar naval superiority.
So it's a blueprint for the future.
It's a clear blueprint. When you combine this kind of novel tech with precise intelligence and strategic coordination, these low-cost autonomous systems can now hold the most valuable, most protected naval assets on the globe completely at risk.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.